All right, hope everyone's doing well. Good to see everyone back again. Start of our mini camp, 3 days of mini camp here. Everyone's in attendance. James Cook, I know that'll be a question, so I'll just get out in front of it. So he will practice as far as I know at this point. So I really appreciate him being here. And the other guys that will not practice due to injury at this point at least are KJ Hamler, Taron Johnson, Cam Lewis, Connor McGovern, Joey Bosa, Balin Spector, Cole Bishop, and DeMar Hamlin. So all are in kind of different situations as it relates to coming off injury, back from maybe a surgery or a recent tweak here. So Shaq Thompson, we added Shaq, as you guys know, and Shaq will be out there but is not going to participate in practice in full fashion. He'll be limited at best. So he's coming off of an injury. For those of you that may know, may not know, he's coming off of an injury and a surgery from last season. So we're working through that with him here. So the rest of the time's yours.
Just address the James Cook situation. I mean, obviously we're glad he's here. If you could just expound on that happening today.
Well, I credit James. Business is business. At the end of the day, I know he loves being around this team and the guys in the locker room, and he loves to play football. So I respect his decision to be here and be amongst the team and get some work in today. And we're looking forward to that.
Do you believe then that this is over in terms of being a training camp and everything? What does this signify anything?
We're just taking it one day at a time. Yeah, one day at a time. I mean, we've all been around this league a long time, and everyone has their own situations. They're all different, right? So I think, again, we need everybody to win, and we need everybody to practice. And we expect James to be there and be there on time, but also understand his situation.
Hey, Sean, on all the guys not working this week, are there any concerns about them being ready for the start of camp?
Not at this point, to my knowledge, and what Nate has shared with me. So, things come up between hopefully not, but they do come up usually, over the course of that summer break, and so part of it is you get tweak here or tweak there, and the players and taking ownership of make sure they communicate to our training staff so that even the smallest things that we can get out in front of them.
What kind of offseason has Josh had since he came back, and what do we see out of him in terms of weighting things this week?
Yeah, it's good to have him back. Certainly, I think it's been documented out there, at least to some extent. He got married, and now he's back with the team. So, life comes up, and it's been fun to watch him grow, and but really appreciate him being here, right? Because this is his team. He is our unquestioned leader and leader of the team. And what he does is first and foremost lead by example. So. Yesterday even he was first one in our meetings that we had with the players, just in terms of the physical process. He was one of the first in line, and which I thought was really impressive, right, based on his events of late. So.
How have you seen Josh grow and handle himself in the light of the limelight, in the attention, be it the Madden Cup or the contract he signed, or getting married to a high-profile actor and things like that? How have you seen him adapt that way in being himself?
Yeah, I think and this is what is, I think, really been fun to watch and really good for our community and our fan base is they have a player like Josh that they can cheer for, and he makes amazing plays, and he continues to grow as a quarterback on the field. Just as amazing, though, is who he is as a person, right? The family he comes from, who he continues to become as a young man, and what I've seen is this truly genuine, authentic person who, yes, is in the limelight, yes, is one of the top players in our league, and maybe the top player in the NFL. And but he is so authentic, so down to earth, so relatable. I think that's really the connection and the cool piece about Josh is because he is who he is, in the ways that he is who he is, he's able to have that connection in our community. And again, it's genuine, it's authentic. And just, again, watching him out in the walkthrough today a few minutes ago, I guess you would say you would never have guessed that he just experienced what he experienced, right? So an unbelievable ability to connect, unbelievable ability to stay true to himself and where he comes from and who he is.
Today was it 2 and 10?
Yes. Yeah.
How much, what was it like?
I was very grateful to be there, number one. Two, just it was what you would expect of a wedding. Great to see, and two really special families coming together.
What we would expect as a wedding?
Next. We won't get into maybe what you would expect.
Sean, what can you tell us about Shaq Thompson and your time with him in Carolina, and his role, what his fit is for your type of defense?
Right. Yeah, I mean, we drafted Shaq when Brandon and I were both there, and really, really good player, tough, smart. He's been through some injuries over the course of the last few years, so that's been hard to watch from a distance. And the latest one we're working through, as I mentioned earlier, with him now. But when you talk about a player that can play more than one position, you talk about a player that can help create a certain toughness or bring a certain toughness with him, nastiness to a defense, to a team. He's all about the right stuff as a player and a person.
Tre'Davious was asked last week about guiding Max into this new phase of his career at the professional level. How have you seen him begin to mentor the rookie?
It's, again, just like Josh, incredibly impressed by Trey and his willingness to serve, willingness to share, willingness to impart the wisdom he's gained in this league for, however many years he's now been in the league, and share that with those young players. It's incredible. Especially when they're battling for potentially the same position. I think that really says a lot about who Trey is as a person. And, these words did not come from him, but when I survey the situation, I look at it like, Trey knows he was our first pick here, right? And it's almost like he feels like he's back, and he's back to play at a high level. But he's also here to help serve the future of the organization for many years to come. And I think that says a lot about who he is and his actions day in and day out.
Do the injuries to Jerron Johnson and Cam Lewis create a growth opportunity this week for Hancock to really get some reps at nickel?
Yep, no doubt. Anytime somebody's out, right, it's an opportunity for somebody else to step in and show us what they have. And so those are two young players that have had opportunities more so this spring. And Cole being out today, will provide another opportunity for some of those young safeties, to show us what they have.
How's Matt Milano done this spring? He's not on the list that you gave.
Yeah.
Is that a good indication that he's where you want him to be physically right now?
Yeah, he's dialed in. Physically, he looks really good, and he's just really trying to have a good off season. I think it's been the first in 1 or 2 years now where he hasn't been having to rehab necessarily. So, but Matt's always working on things, always working on his body, making sure he is in prime condition come training camp.
What would make this a successful week for you guys?
I think, more than anything, it's how can we continue to connect now that everybody is here. Not everybody's going to be practicing, but everybody's here under one roof to continue to connect as a football team. Just adding, say, for example, Shaq in the last 24 hours, right, is how does he integrate into who we are, the connections that he makes in that locker room, that they make with him. Doing that now, I believe, is important, that we get started, going into training camp. That's a big piece of us this spring. That's going to have to continue in training camp, the connectedness of our team, and then the techniques and the scheme and the playbook and introducing these guys that way. And then there's this other piece over here, which was already asked about, with who's not practicing and making sure that we can stay as healthy as possible this time of year and then through that break. So I know it's not just the next 3 days, including today, but over the summer break. We call it a break, but the players know it's time to ramp up as they head into training camp.
How have you seen that new defensive line group, the guys that you brought in, kind of meld with the guys you already had?
Yeah, really, really excited about those young guys. And it's not just them; they're integrating into a veteran group in some ways, and some of the newer players are actually veterans as well. So, kind of hitting it from 3 different angles, and been fun to watch those guys work and work with the coaches and work on their techniques. And that's as I've said before, we're going to go as the D-line goes on the defensive side. So having some young players in there, adding some new players, we've got to get healthy in that room and stay healthy. That's also a big part of it.
To that point, Coach, is Walker doing more than maybe he did when he first got here? How close is he to being fully cleared, full go?
I believe he's on like 4 reps a period right now. He went from basically no reps to he's up to 4. He'll graduate to 5 in the next day or two, and then we head into the summertime with the intent of training camp picking up where we left off at least. So yeah, he's come from a long ways away, and credit to him, credit to our training staff, and now we're in a position where he can start to rep and get more and more run.
What have you seen from Max Harrison? It's only been a month, but from a rookie, first time on the field in mini camp to where we are now?
Well, I think everybody saw the night of the draft was the character really shown through for who he is as a person, the energy he brings day in and day out, vibrant personality, great smile. Now it's time to play football, right? So, he's learning the playbook, he's learning the techniques again, the onboarding process, how life is in the NFL this time of year. And what you're seeing really with Max is, let's just say he started here. That's not that it's low. It's just all these rookies come in and start at a certain point, and then he's every day really been intent on getting better, having a purpose, going out to the practice field. And a lot of our young players have been doing that as well.
To follow up of that, and we asked about Trey, while he's mentoring and doing that, it's also a competitive situation that you build in all these positions. With a guy like Trey, you've seen him from when he started to now. You see flashes of that, the competitiveness, or is that just like the way he's wired? Because while he's helping this young guy, he's also competing with him.
Yeah. That is some of the uniqueness of this business is such a results-driven business, such a transactional business. Unfortunately, in a lot of ways, it is what it is, right? But when you have a player or a person, in this case like Trey, it doesn't surprise you when you see them turning around and helping a young player like Max, like Dorian, and beyond. So, again, it just... you would hope that if you or I or anyone in this room was in the same position, we would do the same thing. But again, I think it goes back to Trey, and I don't want to put words in his mouth because this did not come from him. But when I survey the situation, as I said earlier, Mike, I just believe in my heart that there's something deeper behind all of it with Trey, because I know what this place means to him. I know what he means to us and to me. And then I just feel like, he wants to see the Bills continue to do good for years and years to come.
Sean, what have you liked about Jackson Hawes' approach so far, and what are some traits that it takes to be a successful, what you would call a locker room tight end?
Well, you got to have the personality, right? You got to love the friction. You got to love the conflict, the confrontation, as we call it. I think that's the start of any person who likes the physicalness of the game. Is you got to want to be in that street fight, and it's really, all off of film at this point because we're in shorts, T-shirts, and helmets. But his personality does seem to speak about, he likes the noise. And some like it and some don't. And we'll see when we get in training camp. And we've, quite honestly, tried to educate our rookies on what this is now that they're experiencing and not to get too comfortable because it's going to ratchet up, and it's going to ratchet up really fast in training camp in terms of the intensity, the physicality, the speed. That's how it goes. Spring, training camp, and then preseason game, regular season game, playoffs. It just continues on. Super Bowl, that's how the league works.
How have you seen T.J. Sanders integrate himself into that, knowing that, as you just said, you're still in shorts and helmets, and his primary job is going to be to hit the quarterback when he can't, which he can't do right now. But
Yeah.
The rest of it, how has he integrated himself?
In terms of the kind of the intangibles over here, yeah, he's done a really good job. He and Dion kind of pal around a little bit together. They met somewhere along the line, maybe in the Senior Bowl. So, yeah, it's been fun to watch those guys. You feel like you're trying to educate them in more ways than one, right? On the grass in terms of the scheme, the techniques, but also in terms of habits off the field that lead to winning, right? Lead to successful careers and trying to help a football team. So we're going to play a lot of young guys on defense. That's the way I see it right now, at least. That there's going to be some youth to our defense, and we're going to be counting on a number of those guys to step up for us. What was your first part, Kat?
Just what are you looking for out of him?
Yeah, continued improvement. We know who he is, and you talk about physicality. I mean, he's as physical as there is on our football team. He loves the noise. He loves contact. Now it's continued to grow in playing the position, right? And linebacker's a tough position when you're back at the third level of the defense, safety in particular. The game slows down a little bit. But when you're up closer to the line of scrimmage, the game moves faster and faster because of the indicators, the triggers. So the ability to process, you got to be able to process quickly, and add up 1 + 1. And he's really grown in that area, and I think he's closing that gap every day.
Sean, I don't think we'll talk to you the rest of this week. So what's the message you generally give after this period to the guys as they leave before they come back to camp, especially the young guys, on how to kind of create that space of being ready, but also taking time?
Well, we talked a lot with the veterans yesterday through their physical process as they met with our docs, and just overall checking in with them. There's guys who have already built their routines through years going through it, and then there's the second and third year players who still need a little bit of, hey, hand on the back, are we good? You've got a good plan. What's your plan? Now go execute it. And then for the rookies, it's really starting from ground zero and saying, hey, this 5-week stretch. What is your plan? What do you have in mind? How much are you traveling? Where are you going to be? Because they don't know, right? And I think the best teacher is their teammates. So veteran players at their position who have been through what they're going through. And the truth is that it's no matter how hard you work, it's hard to be ready for something you've never experienced before. So that veteran leadership and the way that those guys are sharing their wisdom with our young players is a big help. And you can certainly, it's like this time of year, you can't win a world championship this time of year, but you can certainly lose it. And so in the same way with a young player, now's their time to put themselves into position. Are you going to be able to be fully ready? It's just really hard, right? But at the end of the day, you can certainly take yourself out of position fast if you don't work, if you don't have a plan this time of year, you don't execute the plan.
John, can you compare where you were heading into your first OTAs or minicamp in 2017 to now? You're just talking about that umbrella of the OTAs and everything kind of, I want to say running itself, but
Yeah.
compared to the micromanager maybe, how's it different?
Where I was
Yeah.
then?
The whole program.
Yeah. Well, I had more hair then, I think, maybe a strand or two. No, I remember them just physically. I think we had torn up the practice fields, and we were forced to, I believe, practice inside or over at the stadium, which I thought was great, getting our players over there. And you know, it's just when you come in the first year, you got a lot of things that you want to get done, and you've got to pick your spots on what's actually realistic to get done and what isn't, what you can kind of get done in the days and weeks and months and years ahead. But you know, I think more than anything, it was just trying to get us all on the same page and get the right people here, and then you know, create a culture of that leads to winning, the habits that lead to winning.
We ask you a lot about, you know, what players need to do this week or what they need to do over the next couple months. What do you want to see from your coaches? You still got a lot of really young coaches on your staff, and they have experience, but what do you want to see from them during this point of the season?
Yeah, well, just as much as the players that we're teaching them that they have to learn, we as coaches have to learn. The minute you stop learning is the minute things go south. So you've got to be a constant growth-minded individual and be curious about things. Be curious of the other side of the ball. Be curious on our side of the ball and the side of the ball that you're currently working on, and continue to hunt information, continue to hunt knowledge, and not be afraid to ask questions. So just with all of those guys, I mean, they have their own goals, and you know, we talk from time to time, but I think the biggest thing is that they've all. I think we've had a great off season. The coaches have worked extremely hard. What I've already seen with these young players, you can tell that they're great teachers. Our coaching staff, they know how to develop young players. They also know how to welcome older veteran players who have been on other teams, and I mean that's called the melting pot of a team, is when you can take what you have and get it to come together just right, and so that's what we're tasked with at this point, heading into training camp. And but I've been very impressed with the coaching staff and the way that not only they've done what I just said, but also they've worked together and been collaborative in that way.
Sean, 2 more, please.
How does your approach kind of change going in with some of the younger guys on defense like you were talking about? Because usually you lean a lot on veterans.
With the younger players? Yeah, man, no, we've listened to we've always wanted to lean on young guys. Young guys play like anybody else. I've said this before. Young guys, old guys. It does not matter. It's who earns the right to play. Bottom line. So it's not that Sean McDermott has not played a young guy because he's been intentionally trying to keep a young guy over here. It is who earns the job. Because I'm not going to put a young guy out there or an old guy out there if their teammates don't trust them. Bottom line. So that's how we do it. 9 years of doing it. It ain't going to change.
More nervous before a Bills game or Orchard Park softball?
Yeah, no, I'm happy for those girls. It's been great to watch them. You know, as a dad, you're emotional about it. You watch them have success. It's fun, you know, watching these kids grow up. Harry's been there at the games, and really appreciate him and all the coverage he's had of the team. And you know, you're watching your kids work hard. You're watching a team work hard and reap the dividends of their hard work. So, you know, it makes you emotional watching it unfold. Good. Thank you.